Hey, welcome back, everybody. Today we're talking about one of the biggest half-truths when it comes to your health and your longevity and your mobility. And that's that strength training, resistance training, it's often called, leads to muscle growth. Because the truth is, there's a lot of caveats in between the actual active strength training and actually growing muscle or even maintaining muscle. So think of strength training kind of like planting a seed in the soil, okay? When you plant a seed, you can't just plant the seed and walk away and expect it to grow. It's going to need nourishment, right? It's still going to need the sunlight and the water. And without that, it's not going to grow into anything. And so this is the same kind of mentality that you want to have about your strength training. So we're not going to spend a lot of time. I'm just going to hone in on the main bullet points. And then if you do want to schedule an appointment with me, you can do so. And we can talk about your own personal, unique situation, your medical history, your current fitness regimen, etc., and figure out what kind of variables would dial in for you. All right. So anyway, before we do that, please be sure to like and subscribe so you get more videos like this in the future. And you can follow me for a lot of more great content. All right, that said, so let's get into it. So what do you need to make strength training actually turn into muscle growth? There are a lot of things, but some of the main items, one thing most people don't do is they don't get the appropriate intensity. All right, long story short, if you're not working at least about 50% of your muscle's capacity, so let's say you can perform 10 pounds of a bicep curl, you would need generally at least 5 pounds in order to create the right stimulus for muscle growth. There are plenty of exceptions. There are some people who that could actually be too much for because if the health of their heart is particularly weak, you can get into some situations that way where actually you need to go lighter. So everybody is different, but for the most part, for probably 80 or 90% of you watching this, the best strategy, given your medical history, your time, and where you are in a progression in fitness, the best thing that you can do is to train at least 50% or more. If you're more advanced, you probably know you're going to need to have more like 65, 70, 75%, even 80% sometimes. And again, this all really depends on a lot of factors. Okay, so that's the first thing is intensity. Let's talk about another thing now too, and that's total volume. Even if the intensity is right, we have to get the right amount of volume, and that's going to really differ for all of you as well. For beginners, they can get away with very little volume. Per muscle group, sometimes some people get away with 1, 2, maybe 3 sets, and they'll see really good productive muscle gains. As you get more advanced, by your 6th month, a year, you're going to need several more sets in most cases in order to really develop muscle tissue consistently and confidently. All right, so now let's get away from the actual workout itself and let's talk about what has to happen when the workout is done. So it's important to understand you don't actually grow muscle during your workout, and you don't even really grow muscle right after the workout as you go about your day. You grow muscle while you're sleeping. And so you have to set up your body so that you're going to get the productive sleep necessary to actually stimulate muscle growth. And that's only going to happen if, for one, if you're properly hydrated throughout the day. You don't want to drink a lot of water before bed, but you do want to be properly hydrated throughout the day. So when you do go to bed, you're not at a deficit of total body water. Okay, that's one of the first things. Another thing, it's generally a good idea to supplement with creatine, especially creatine monohydrate. Creatine is quite good for you. There's a lot of health benefits. It's been very, very well studied, far better studied than most supplements that are out there. But it's a cheap, simple supplement, and you're not going to get enough from food. I know people like to say, well, I don't want to take a supplement, I'll just get it from my food. You really can't. The amount of creatine that's going to benefit you, it's not realistic to get from food each day. So I would recommend a cheap creatine supplement. There's a lot of them available on Amazon, and I don't think you have to be very particular about the brand. Just try to get one that's third-party tested. Okay, so now we've talked about the hydration, we've talked about the exercise itself, we talked about creatine as a supplement. Let's also talk about protein intake. And there's two big factors here that really matter a lot. For one, it's the quantity of protein that you're getting. The other one is the quality, and they both matter a lot. So I've seen a lot of people who will get the right quantity. And in general, as a real general number, I would say that's roughly 1 gram per pound of body weight, but that can vary a lot. For some people, almost about half of that is appropriate, and some people actually need more. So it really, really depends on where you are in the whole cycle, the whole progression of your fitness and your strength training. And then as far as the quality goes, that's a big one because For example, plant-based foods are tremendously healthy, but they're not really going to give you all the amino acids, all the essential amino acids. And on the other hand, there are plenty of foods out there that will give you all the essential amino acids. They'll be a complete protein, as we call it, but they're often not very good quality meats or quality foods. So we've got to find the right kind of combination that's going to work for you. And again, you can schedule with me if you'd like, and we can talk on a more personalized basis. We can look at how much time you have, how many of your meals have to be rushed, your medical history, etc., to figure out what some of these answers really are. But for the purposes of this video, what I'd say is that you want to keep in mind that you're getting the right quantity, and it really should be just about every day with very few exceptions. Maybe 1 or 2 days off per month isn't so bad, but any more than that is probably going to hurt your hypertrophy. It's going to hurt your ability to gain muscle that you're trying to gain. And same with quality too. You want quality to be really on point. So let's talk about a couple other things now too. Now, stress is something that really slows people down when it comes to muscular hypertrophy. If you're stressed out, you're going to have all kinds of health ramifications. Gut health isn't going to be particularly good. Hormone secretion is not going to be particularly strong. Sleep is probably going to be at least somewhat disrupted. I don't mean you're necessarily going to wake up in the middle of the night, but your sleep cycles that have to take place, they're not going to go as well if you've been stressed out throughout the day. All right. You'd be very surprised at how little it takes to really throw your body off when you're trying to make gains in your muscle and in your strength. So those are just a few of the ideas, everybody. I just want you to understand from this video that just planting the seed and doing the strength training isn't necessarily doing much. People come to me a lot when they've been strength training for years, and they'll say, I don't know what it is. I can't grow muscle. I don't know. I just can't lose weight. I can't make any change from strength training. And it's just the devil's in the details, and that we have to get all these factors and many, many others to be really accurate. So one thing that I do with a lot of my clients, by the way, if you're having trouble like remembering to do some of these things throughout the day, to give yourself the protein and the water intake and all the things you have to do, and perhaps some methods of de-stressing, what I do with a lot of my clients is I will schedule a series of either text message reminders where we schedule them out every couple of hours, reminding them of what to do, or we'll make calendar entries. But either way, however you have to go about it, set yourself up with some reminders throughout the day so that you don't forget when you get lost in your vocation or whatever it is you're doing. And then instead, you're constantly being reminded that, oh, it's time to have another meal with this much protein in it, or, it's time to drink some more water or whatever else you have to do. So anyway, everybody, I hope this video gets you thinking a little bit more about what it takes to actually grow muscle or even sustain muscle. And again, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. You can click down below to schedule a free consultation with me, and we can get the conversation a little bit more started on a personalized level. All right, everybody, have a great day.